Tegan Knox came out last week, but did she come out this week with championship gold?
Yeah, it's... Damn it, I forgot my line. Let's try that again.
Alright. Tegan Knox came out last week, but did she come out of this show with championship gold?
It's Chasing Gold meets Chasing Amy, and this is NXT. Yes, that's 2 lesbian jokes in a row. Top that. Welcome, everybody, to What's NXT for July 15th, 2020. I'm your host, the Rated R reviewer, Stefan Osborne, joined as always by the General Jerry Slaughter.
Good morning, wrestling fans.
So, yeah, that was an obscure movie reference that came to mind today for no apparent reason.
It's going to start happening more often. We need to
Spice it up, man.
Yeah, mindless self-indulgence is the key here.
Yeah, as long as we're not treading on any copyrights, let's just say, top that. Top that. I don't really give up. If you want to top that, top that. Okay.
Okay.
If you know what we're talking about, we love you. Let's get into the show.
It was actually a pretty cool follow-up to the Great American Bash.
We went from 4 viewers to 1 viewer.
Yeah, they all went the fuck away.
I am so sorry for the reference. Next week's will be better, I promise. Okay, we start the show with sort of a little video package to Keith Lee. Mostly what this is follows up, the announcement last week at the end of the show. He wins the main event, gets both titles, but now we have everybody's response.
Everybody's after him.
Now, there's a lot of people that are like, hey, good job, Keith Lee. And then there's a lot of people that are like,
fuck you, I want your belts.
I want one of those titles. You are now the man with the biggest target on his back ever in NXT. Ever.
The first person to actually say that was Finn Balor. So, and then, the rest of the people started chiming in. It's like, yeah, Finn's correct.
And then you just had Keith. Different guy.
Yep.
Oh. I hate when they do that.
Then it cut to Dexter Loomis just standing there.
Yeah, Loomis doesn't say anything. You just assume he's drawing a picture of Keith Lee.
You should have just held up a picture like Silent Bob. Just
Loomis. Love Loomis. Keith Lee comes to the ring.
Mm-hmm.
He says that it was a great victory, but he is not going to overlook some things that he needs to get off his chest. He feels like he didn't do this alone. A lot of people are giving him credit. He's done all this work. He's put in all this time. But it wasn't just him. The first person that he wants to, after he makes Alicia repeat her intro for him.
Which is the most heel thing I've ever seen him do, in NXT thus far.
You remember a couple of months ago there for a few weeks when they were trying to make Keith Lee start to become heel?
With Jordan Miles?
Yeah. Oh my God, thank God they didn't do that.
Yeah.
Okay. So, he makes her repeat his intro, but that's cool. He just wants to hear her say it again because he never knows when is going to be the last time he hears that. He says,
talk.
The last few months have been difficult for everybody, and he knows that more than anybody. I beg to differ. I really don't know how he could.
He's been winning matches left and right. He gets to go home and have sex at me. He's not losing.
Motherfucker, some people know people that have COVID. I'm just saying, I don't even think Keith Lee, personally knows anybody that's been affected. If I'm wrong, I apologize, but even still, he hasn't gotten it. He says, reality says that all of his supporters and his enemies want one thing, an opportunity. He says Tim Brooks helped him beyond measure. He said this, I don't know who Tim Brooks is.
It's his guy who trained him.
Well, yeah, he says that, but I mean, other than, Keith Lee's trainer was Tim Brooks. Did you know that? Other than that, I don't know who the fuck Tim Brooks is, but this guy, Tim Brooks, took him in, taught him wrestling, became like a second father figure. If you remember from a few months ago, I can't remember the promo, But they talked about Keith Lee getting kicked out of his house because he went to go do a professional wrestling event.
Mm-hmm.
Stole his own car to drive hours to this event, comes home, and got kicked out of the house.
I was already sold on Keith Lee, but then he started telling stories like that, and I was like, that's pretty cool.
He says, but it wasn't just him. The NXT universe, the WWE universe, they've given him so much support. But there's one guy that tends to get overlooked. Not by these guys.
Not us.
Never
ever.
by us.
No.
Let's correct that.
Mm-hmm.
But for the majority.
Even though you did used to make fun of his name like fucking non-stop.
Oh, I mean, when he first... I mean, come on. How do you not? How do you not? How do you not say Jack off? Anyway... I swore I'd never say it again, but I'd never make fun of him with it anymore. Let's keep that fair. Anyway, he says Dominik Dijakovic is also to thank, and he calls him out there. Now, Dominik comes out, and he says, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. This is your moment.
Yeah.
Enjoy it. But I'm here. What do you want to say?
They're like trying to out-humble each other at this point. It was a humble mania.
Jesus Christ. Keith Lee says that when he won, he went to the back and the first person he sees. I'm like, motherfucker, you didn't even have to make it to the back. You made it to the stage.
And he jumped on you.
Yeah, first Mia Yim comes to the ring, kisses him, and then leaves. But then the second person he sees, who jumps on his back like a piggyback.
Well, like a 5-year-old seeing his dad for the first time coming back from the war.
Probably whispers loud nothings in his ears. I'm proud of you, baby. Anyway, it was Dijakovic. So, he goes on, he basically says what we're sitting here thinking. Keith Lee's rise in NXT really began with his feud with Dijakovic.
Those matches were the shit.
We were clamoring for, and to their credit, maybe it's a bad thing, but to their credit, the injuries sustained within put so much space in between that as much as we wanted to see the matches, yes, by the time they finally got around, they were that much better. And the good part is, Lee and Dijakovic are so good that they made the payoff worth the wait.
Yep.
We don't have to wait any longer.
No, not this time.
Keith Lee challenges Dominik Dijakovic for his first title defense, not of the North American Championship, not even of the NXT Championship, of both championships. He's going to defend both of them all at once against Dominik Dijakovic, and all DD has to say is fucking win, dog.
Yep.
Win. And Lee's like,
I'm dressed now.
Yeah. He says what I noticed when he first came out. What did I say?
He's ready to wrestle.
He's dressed to wrestle.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen Keith Lee come out when he's just doing a promo. He comes out with fucking gray sweatpants
and
on.
and pink shoes.
And pink sneakers. Sneaks. So anyway, he wants it tonight, and Dominik Dijakovic doesn't know what to say. Obviously, he's sitting here thinking what I'm thinking. He's not prepared for this. He's not ready. Give him a week. Give him a chance to prepare for this match. No. He says, Lee says, just say yes.
The receipt is tonight.
Just say yes. That's all he says.
No ticking, no laundry.
Dijakovic says yes.
But before we go any further, Nate Spade's in the chat room. Hey, Nate. And Colin says he's got his migraine, his eyes are hurting, so he's going to shut his eyes, but he's going to listen to us. That's what I usually do for us as well. We're not really much to look at.
So we got we got like 4 people in the chat room.
Mm-hmm.
Whoop, whoop. All right. Well, 3 if you include. So anyway.
I don't count me ever.
So anyway, let's move on.
I don't count me apart.
Our first match of the night, what I honestly thought was going to open the show if it wasn't for the opening segment.
Which it theoretically did, is the opening match.
Opening match, Damian Priest, Cameron Grimes, 3 or 4 or 3.5. I don't even fucking know.
It's not Lee versus Dijakovic, but this one was actually pretty damn good.
It was alright. It was alright. I mean, it was alright.
It was alright. It was a Cameron Grimes versus Damian Priest match, and they're really trying to push Damian Priest right now as a face. They really, really are.
Well, of note, Damian Priest comes into the match 100% as opposed to the last several times that he has faced Cameron.
Where he had the DDP Band-Aids.
Yeah. We knew that if this was one-on-one and fair, that Damian Priest was going to win.
Yeah.
And that sucks. Because why are they building up Cameron Grimes just to lose to Damian Priest?
Again.
Do they build up and then he loses to other people? Like, how about just build up Cameron Grimes to the North American Championship?
Yeah.
Do us a favor. Do us
I'm
a solid, Triple H.
yeah.
You steal all of our fucking ideas. You might as well do us a solid and fucking
push Cameron Grimes to the moon. He's obnoxious. He's got a great move set, and he's just entertaining to watch. And he's gonna be even worse when he gets the gold. It's gonna be so great.
So let's see. We see Priest. Okay, my favorite move of the night. I don't know why. Priest goes for what I call the spring shot. When Johnny Gargano does it, he steps in over the middle rope, steps on the bottom rope with one leg, and uses that to spring him through the ropes into a move. In this case, Priest goes over the top rope and steps on the middle rope and uses that to try and spring shot into a move from the apron, which Cameron Grimes lands a Superman forearm to his face. I like it.
It wasn't sweet chin music, but it'll do.
At least it wasn't a Superman back elbow.
Yeah.
The Superman concept is great right now. As soon as the back elbow lands, I will be okay. Anyway,
that's jumping the shark right there.
He gets him back in the ring, hits that tilt-a-whirl side effect, near fall. That's probably the closest near fall Grimes is going to get.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think he gets another couple of them, but it's like, nah, it wasn't going to happen. There was one roll-up though, where I think Cameron Grimes really ought to have gotten the victory.
Yeah.
I think it was off of the first Reckoning attempt.
Mm-hmm.
He ends up rolling that up into a fruit roll-up or a small package, and gets so close. But Priest kicks out. Let's see. Priest hits a razor's edge onto the apron from the outside. That was all right. Hardest part of the ring.
Don't you know?
Back inside the ring, he goes for that cyclone kick, and Grimes ducks. But he ends up lifting him up into a fucking, like, this pop-up flatliner. Gets a near fall from Priest.
He should call his razor's edge the hall pass.
He gets up. Grimes gets the upper hand again. Goes for a cave-in. Priest dodges it. He dodges it. And then, for some reason, Cameron Grimes goes through the ropes. Like, instead of going for a cave-in, which is up, kicking down, he kicks out. Goes in between the middle and the top ropes, kind of like a wrecking ball drop kick.
Yeah.
But instead, he just stops. Not like with his hands up, like skinning the cat, like Kenny Williams does, but just stops like butt on the ropes. And this is where Damian Priest finishes the match. Let's see, what's he hit? Where are my notes? He hits a cyclone kick to the back of his head while he's still hung in the ropes, and then grabs him up and hits that Reckoning off of a draping over the middle rope.
We see a lot of cool draping moves tonight, or at least two.
I think that's where the gift from earlier came from.
Yeah, top that.
Top that. So if you thought that was a cool draping move into a finisher, just wait. There's more.
Billy Mays style.
Yeah.
Less dead, though.
End of the show. Priest wins. Fucking fine.
Yeah. It'd be cool if this match actually meant something, but it really, really didn't.
If they're not pushing Damian Priest to a win over Keith Lee for the North American Championship, then this was fucking pointless. Anyway, we move on to episode number 3 of Thatch's Thatch Can Wrestling. This is where he wants to basically brag to his students about how he won the match that he had last week or the week before.
It made Oni Lorcan cry.
Oni Lorcan. So he puts a Fujiwara armbar on somebody. And I'm kind of sure that he already did this in a previous one.
He did.
I can look back.
But this time around, he was just talking about, like, you keep it on just to make them submit. But then if you can make them cry, that's even better.
And, yeah, and this dude's tapping for, like, 20 seconds straight. And he finally lets him up. And he says, if they cry in shame, that's the best way to win.
Mm-hmm.
Tap out's not enough.
He's not wrong.
I guess.
But basically, if they cry or pass out, that's one of the best things in the world.
So, we move on. Shotzi Blackheart versus Indy Hartwell, for some reason.
for reasons. Pretty much, you get a whole dose of foreshadowing just for the fact that they showed up the whole segment with Robert Stone getting his leg ran over by a tank.
Shots Indy Black Hartwell. Part 1.
They should be combined.
I've got, basically, they play the video cap of Shotzi Blackheart running over Robert Stone last week in her tank, and him saying he's dying, which I thought was hilarious.
It was great.
Uh,
Robert Stone is good television.
and then this match happens.
And it was a different ending than what we thought we were going to get.
It happens, man.
Yeah.
Shotzi has some moves. They said she has a different kind of move set.
Skill set, yes.
Like, but nothing worth mentioning. Nothing real cool at all. And then she just, ends up dominating the match. She gets ready to win. I think she goes up top, maybe. I don't know.
She goes up for a senton. And
Robert Stone hobbles out in one of those plastic boots instead of a cast.
Because it's a lot more stylish with him and his other gold shoe.
So while she's up on top in the back corner, he's near the ramp distracting the ref, getting up on the apron with a broken leg, I guess. They said, Tom Phillips said that he's got some broken ligaments.
Ligaments.
In his leg.
Broken ligaments. Not even torn or bruised. Broken.
Broken ligaments. So, he says it's a serious thing. And
he's got backiotomy.
Beth Phoenix questions the doctor that provided that
diagnosis.
Yeah. So anyway, he's distracting. Meanwhile, Aaliyah trips Shotzi Blackheart off the top rope. She goes feet forward, lands on her back, and
Indy nails the ugliest looking big boot I think I've ever seen in my entire life,
and gets a pinfall right next to the ropes. Mm-hmm. This match was.
There's nothing to write home about. If anything, they're going to be, furthering this feud between Shotzi Blackheart and the Stone brand. So, interesting what's going to happen with that.
Yeah, but this match was garbage. Anyway, up next is an interview with Tegan Knox. Tonight, she's got an opportunity for the NXT Women's Championship. Hopefully, this is a better match. She says that tonight is her night, and she feels bigger, better, stronger, shinier than she's ever been. Shittier than she's ever been.
God. It's like she's channeling her inner Tony Storm at the same time.
Foreshadowing that match gets 25 minutes, just saying.
It's the main event. I can't explain it either. We get Dijakovic versus Lee again, and that's not the main event.
Alright, so let's pick up the mood. We've got the Legado del Fantasma.
Love them.
Yeah, they are sitting around somewhere.
They're sitting in like a hotel lobby just sipping on alcoholic beverages.
Maybe alcohol, maybe just soda. It does have carbonation, but it leaves you to ponder. Because you can't blatantly be drinking alcohol if you can help it. This is television. Anyway, you want kids to watch maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not. Anyway, they say that, they've come out dominant. It's great that they won their first their first match as a group because for one, it had Drake Maverick in it, and he cheers to the end of Drake Maverick because not only did he drop him on his neck through a table onto the floor, but he also beat him, like pinned him in the ring to end that match. But at the same time, they also beat Breezango, who showed disrespect for their lucha heritage. They said lucha libre is an art. And Santos Escobar brought the Cruiserweight title into the main event, or into the main show.
Yep.
And thank God that he won the title. And I don't know, they're just celebrating each other. He says a bunch of things about...
he says, Raul, you're a technician. You're awesome.
And he says that Joaquin Wilde, if you see him in the air, it's already too late, something like that.
Yeah, he hypes these two up better than they've ever been hyped up before.
Better than they hyped themselves up in the ring.
Yeah.
Just saying. But I love Santos Escobar.
He's such an awesome character. I'm totally glad they got rid of the El Hijo de Fantasma thing because it just didn't feel like the right fit. He feels like the right fit for NXT. He's got the suaveness, he's got the story. It makes me kind of wish that Angel Garza had stuck around a little while longer, but otherwise, Love it.
I knew that name was bullshit when he came in. I'm like, there's no way that he's gonna keep that long ass fucking name.
No.
El Hijo de los fucking.
El Hijo de
I was like, it's gonna be Phantasma Jr., man. No, Santos Escobar, even more.
It's like he dropped one name and just dropped a completely cooler name. Who does that?
It went from making it, readable to or sayable to making it badass.
It's like going from Nick Nimitz to Dolph Ziggler.
So tonight's show is I'm gonna borrow this real quick. Tonight's show is gonna have 2 championship title matches: the women's and the men's / North American. So maybe that's 3.
All the main singles titles.
So you think the one with 2 titles on the line might just main event this show, right?
You're thinking the same thing we were thinking, and we thought wrong.
Up next is Dominik Dijakovic versus Keith Lee for the North American and the NXT championships. Winner take all. This is the match that leads us from hour 1 into hour 2.
Let's get this out of the way, too. This match should have been for only one of the belts. It would have been made a lot more suspenseful, especially if there was that threat that Dijakovic could easily walk away with the North American title and Keith Lee kept the NXT belt. That would have actually made the match a little more believable, and also it felt like we would have had more high stakes if not both belts were on the line, just one of them.
Yeah, I feel like if it had been the NXT championship, no, it still wouldn't have been suspenseful.
The North American belt, that's something he could have lost,
but
and then would no longer been Keith Lee 2 belts.
Yeah, the North American title should have been the only belt on the line, because then we might have thought Dijakovic might have won. Because, there's been these rumors of him going to Raw. Maybe this is the send-off match. Maybe that's why it was for both titles.
Cleaver agrees that both titles shouldn't have been on the line.
But then it ends up not being the send-off match, and we'll get into that. Let's get into the match first. The first 2/3 of it, stuff we've seen between these two all the time.
But it doesn't matter. It's still great.
Just not really worth.
Big dudes doing the cool shit.
One thing I remember I didn't write down, there was a spot where Keith Lee had just toward the very beginning. He had just got Dijakovic down, and he was trying for grabbing that wrist lock. He loves to hold on to that wrist and do moves. Pull people up out of laying on their back and then just hit them with shit. Anyway, Dijakovic goes to push him off and face palms him. They make a point to make it look like he might be going for that previously injured eye, but he's actually babyface now. He's not going for the eye gouge. His hand is fully flat, and the ref can see and notes that he's not going for an illegal move. He's just pushing the face away. But this is where Keith Lee is like, well, quit touching my face. He grabs that hand, pushes it down, and steps on it, and this is where Dijakovic starts panicking.
Yeah.
Like, fuck.
He's good at that. He's good at panicking.
Somewhere in the middle of the match, Dijakovic goes for the handshake of respect, and Keith Lee at first is like, I don't know, man. But he does it.
Yeah.
He does it, and Dominik Dijakovic doesn't do anything. You know where the vicious fucking killer instinct lies? Keith Lee.
Yeah.
He pulls Dijakovic into a move. I mean, this could have been the show where Keith Lee becomes a heel champ somehow.
That would have been great.
But he's just
King
showing
Booker style.
that predator, that vicious side that he's going to need to now keep the titles that he has. Let's see. Somewhere toward the end, this is. Let me get the hand ready here. So Dominik Dijakovic ends up trapped in the ropes, and Lee pulls him back, and he's draped over the middle rope, much the same way earlier in the night that Cameron Grimes was when he got hit with the Reckoning, where he's upside down, it's inverted. The back of his knees are on the rope, the middle ropes. Out of this, Lee hits a draping Sister Abigail. And this is all we gotta say. Motherfucking move of the night.
Yeah, that floored us. That's what I love about Lee versus Dijakovic matches. Yeah, we'll see all those moves over and over again, but there's always something extra thrown in for us.
I wish I knew how to make gifts. That would have been the gift for the night, was that move. It was awesome.
You probably could have found it.
This quickly, maybe not. Probably not, honestly.
Yeah.
Dominic Dijakovic hits a blockbuster off the top. Gets
That
a near
was
fall.
great looking.
Gets up, hits a cyclone boot. Still only gets a near fall. Let's see. He dives off the middle turnbuckle, but gets met with a double slap to the chest. This spells the end. Let's see. What does Lee hit? A single arm power bomb off of that. Doesn't even go for the pinfall. He's just racking up moves. Hits the Big Bang Catastrophe. 1, 2, 3. Keith Lee, of course, retains both titles. Because, of course, he was gonna. Of course he was gonna. Not only was this for both titles, but it was in the middle of the fucking show. Ugh.
Right. John Elite 45 for Life has joined us now. And he said, hey, he's back. What's going on, man?
Cool. You want to call in? I got the Skype ready. If you want to call in, we'll put the information down. And you can help us review the rest of the show, especially the main event, which is not as good as the mid-card main event. We'll tell you that fucking now.
Yep, seriously.
Even though it was Io Shirai and she got 25 minutes, just saying. After match, Keith Lee helps Dominic Dijakovic up.
Big hug.
You know, they're...
Yeah, we're cool.
We're cool.
We're still good.
Lights go out.
Yep, called it.
Lights go out. Scarlett shows up on the stage looking so only like Scarlett can. And she comes down to the ring very slowly, as she did several weeks ago with Adam Cole. She has something in a bag, not behind her back. So we're wondering, is it a new hourglass? Is it something else? And it is the old hourglass that Keith Lee, by chance, was the one who broke. And she dumps the contents into that tiny little spotlight they give her at the edge of the ring on the apron. The hardest part of the ring. Anyway, this is, I guess, Karrion Kross calling out Keith Lee now, because Dijakovic's standing over in the corner.
Yeah, well, I think that's kind of crazy though, because like now we have to wonder if that, like, you know, if the hourglass wasn't for Karrion Kross to actually win the belt, but for just Adam Cole just to drop it.
Maybe. Or maybe he keeps...
And now it's like they're pretty much saying that he's on borrowed time.
I guess. I don't know. Maybe the hourglass wasn't even for Keith Lee.
Or he's on a time limit.
So, after commercial, which they send us off great, they figured out this whole Scarlett Bordeaux coming out without Karrion Kross thing, and they've got a special camera set up on the stage. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I just recommend watching it.
Yes.
Just go watch it.
It's wonderful.
We get an interview with Dominic Dijakovic post-match. He says Keith Lee, although, you know, he respects him and everything, and he loves the guy, and it was a great match, he just says he is on this different level. Like, it's not the same Keith Lee that I know. Because in that ring, he's just on a different level. He says it's crazy because Karrion Kross isn't even close to Keith's level. And, you know,
he pretty much says Karrion Kross's name enough times that he pops up like fucking Beetlejuice.
Yeah, and then Karrion Kross is just standing behind him, and Dijakovic's like, well, what do you... Yeah, I stand by what I said. What are you going to do about it? Do something. And then Dijakovic basically spear tackles him through a couple of doors, but that's all he gets because Karrion Kross grabs him by the head after the spear and
Doomsday suplex.
Lifts. I don't know if it was.
No, he did the same suplex over the guardrail.
Well, he did a suplex over the railing.
Okay, John has asked us, guys, what if the hourglass wasn't signifying Adam Cole Bebe's run as NXT champ coming to an end, but Undisputed Era's time on NXT instead?
Maybe.
It could very well be. I hope they go after Drew. I really, really do. See, it rhymed.
They showed Kyle O'Reilly showing up at the building with the guys coming out of the car. They didn't show him the rest of the night. Kyle O'Reilly technically has not been in an NXT arena in months.
Yeah, since the pandemic started.
Is it really a role that he's got in a movie? We don't know exactly what's going on, but even if it is just a role he's got in a movie, because I thought nobody was filming anything right now.
I don't know.
So,
It makes you kind of wonder what kind of movie he's making.
If the Undisputed Era's destination is the main roster, I don't exactly know how soon that's possible. To be honest, like that might be several months down the road before Kyle O'Reilly can come back and they debut as a whole.
The thing is, right now they really don't have anybody going after Drew McIntyre. Like that's why they pretty much have to stick Dolph Ziggler into the mix.
No, Randy Orton for SummerSlam.
Well, yeah, Randy Orton for SummerSlam. Yeah, now.
So that ends that TikTok. Timothy Thatcher comes out, and I'm fucking surprised. This, I think, is the first time we've gotten both a Thatch Can Wrestling School segment and Tim Thatcher Wrestling. And I'm like, who's he going to beat tonight? Because, I mean, seriously.
So one of the funnest names I think you enjoy saying now. So
I think it was the dude that got taken out during the Candice LeRae versus, who was it? Mia Yim street fight match. Whatever the fuck it was.
Yeah, Denzel Desjarnais.
Desjarnais.
Which the announcer said Desjarnais, and we're like,
Desjarnais.
It's Desjarnais. It's French.
Desjarnais. Something like that.
Desjarnais means jobber in French. But he was an impressive jobber. He's got an amateur background. He was a really great looking match, I think.
And on the side, he likes to make mustard.
Yeah.
So this match lasts a couple of minutes. For the most part, they're just trading grapples back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, Desjarnais is Greco-Roman style wrestling.
Mm-hmm. If you couldn't tell by
champ.
shoes.
And he seriously, like, amateur wrestles the shit out of Tim Thatcher, but eventually Thatcher grabs him in a single leg crab, gets him half turned over, and Desjarnais starts just kicking him in the face. He misses one kick. Scores the next one, I think, but after that one kick, that's where Thatcher shakes it off, turns him into a single leg crab, cranks it down, and he almost immediately taps out. So Thatcher wins the match, gets up, goes to leave, decides that's not enough. He hasn't cried enough. He puts the single leg crab back on, and this brings out Oney Lorcan, who, like, running dive headbutts into Tim Thatcher's head.
Yeah.
The back of his neck. And I'm like, sick. That was sick,
mm-hmm.
dude. That must have hurt.
But both John and Nate made a point that I completely forgot about. O'Reilly's diabetic, so he's just pretty much self-isolating to stay away from everything.
So, yeah, might be a while.
Yeah.
Might be a while. Yeah, that ends the match. Denzel was saved by Oney Lorcan.
So we're probably going to get that match again soon, Lorcan versus Tim Thatcher. Hey, maybe it'll be a British Rounds one.
Hopefully it's Thatcher versus his partner, Birch.
Danny Birch versus Tim Thatcher would be pretty sweet. If they can get him back overseas. And
then have him be a tag team, take on Tim Thatcher in a handicap match, and then him win.
John says he loves Thatcher's new attitude. Dude, this has been Thatcher's attitude all along. He just didn't really get to show it too much with Matt Riddle because he was just playing straight man to that.
So, backstage, we have Robert Stone approaching Killian Dane, trying to apologize best he can. And Dane, I don't know, he kind of believes that it wasn't his fault necessarily.
But he still wants to beat the shit out of him anyway because he's Killian Dane.
Yeah, but suddenly a wild Aaliyah approaches, and she's carrying with her a giant sheet of paper that's got a bunch of scribbles on it. I mean, awesome scribbles. Dexter Loomis scribbles.
Yeah.
And I can't remember all the other things that he had drawn on there, but on one spot, there was Robert Stone on his belly getting his leg run over by a tank driven by Shotzi Blackheart. And behind them is a caricature of Killian Dane, because he was there, right? And Killian Dane takes exception to the caricature.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he liked it.
I don't think he likes being portrayed as a cartoon.
He gives Robert Stone one opportunity to make this shit up to him. You want to make it right, get me a match with Dexter Loomis.
So, I'm guessing if he gets in this match, we're going to have Killian Dane in the Robert Stone brand?
So this must have been last week or earlier. I didn't catch when they said it was, but it definitely wasn't a few moments ago, because as soon as we get back from commercial, they announced next week, sure enough, Killian Dane will face Dexter Lumis. Stone got it done.
Yeah.
Or, Killian Dane could have just went to Regal and be like, hey, Regal, you want to give me a match with Dexter Lumis?
And he'd be like,
Full
yeah.
face. Yeah.
I'm Regal. I'm British. I'm awesome. Let's do this.
Now, here's the surprise. Next week, Karrion Kross with Scarlett. Gotta mention that. Makes it even more worth watching.
Mm-hmm.
He will be facing Dominik Dijakovic. This match got made. Dijakovic is not exiting with a loss to Keith Lee for both championships. Looks like he's going to be exiting with a loss to Karrion Kross, which is what we called for Adam Cole, but
we're not sure what's going on with that.
Works for big old DD too. Sure, why not?
Well, what happens like if Dominik Dijakovic loses? Karrion Kross is like talking about how he's #1 contender now for like the championship, and that's when Adam Cole comes out and challenges him.
I don't know if that would make him the #1 contender because Dominik Dijakovic lost in the championship.
I know, but at the same time, he'll still assume since he beat Dominik Dijakovic and he has so much respect for Keith Lee.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, that he deserves to be #1 contender. And Adam Cole will walk out and be like,
No.
No.
The guy that was the longest reigning NXT champion ever deserves it.
Yeah.
And then you get that match. So Karrion Kross gets to send Tommaso Ciampa, Dominik Dijakovic, and Adam Cole off into oblivion.
Which is perfect to set up for his match with Keith Lee, because then it just gives him that era of invincibility. So. And
then what would be cool, I think, would be have a match where if he beats Lee by pinfall, he becomes the North American champ. But if he makes Lee tap out, he becomes the NXT champ. And of course, he's got that move.
He's got both moves, so that would be perfect. Oh shit!
You expect him to try to go for the NXT championship because he's got that Anaconda Vice, and instead
that's Dexter Lumis has got that. He's got like the straight jacket.
Yeah, he's got. Oh my bad. Yeah, the cross jacket.
The cross jacket.
So he's got the cross jacket, but instead somehow he ends up getting a pinfall, and out of all of this, he becomes the North American champ.
Just start going Suplex City on him with like the Doomsday suplexes.
Get a 3 count, and then put him in the straight jacket and get him to tap, showing that if he hadn't have just taken the NA championship, he could have taken the NXT championship.
I like that ending. Because then that's just him saying, like, if he wanted to come back for that belt, he could take it.
Well, it's at the complete expense of Keith Lee, but by that point, I would say Keith Lee can afford it, and he would still be walking out NXT champ.
Yep. But at that point, that could either make him more obsessed with getting that belt back. Like, he'll raise up one belt, but then he'll try to raise the other one, and it's just completely empty. Like, that could easily cause a heel turn in Keith Lee. Yeah, but then he'll just do the thumb. It's like, okay, we're still good. We still have the thumb.
All right. So, I hate to break it to you, but that brings us to the main event.
We're at main event now.
As I said before, this got 25 minutes. I don't know why. They could have done this match in 15.
Probably.
And I think Io would have looked better in a 15-minute match. We went through like 2 or 3 commercial breaks. Like, Jesus Christ, this match. I've got a lot of notes, but just because I was trying, man, because this was a 25-minute match, I'm like, I can't come out of this with nothing. What did you think about the main event?
I wasn't impressed.
The main event.
I really wasn't impressed. Like, nobody walked into this match thinking Tegan Nox was going to win the belt. It just wasn't going to happen.
Nope.
Like, the aftermatch, that was kind of surprising, but at the same time, shouldn't be too shocking, because...
It was only surprising, like, in a like, startling way. Like, come out of nowhere way. Like, other than that, it wasn't all that surprising for real.
But otherwise, the match was pretty much meat and potatoes, and... Like, pretty much them championing Tegan Nox as the next big rising star, she wasn't really doing much of anything.
Well, we start with Nox going for the handshake of respect, which automatically shows you she is not prepared for this match.
Mm-hmm.
She says that this whole era of her making a comeback from the injury and being the underdog and blah, blah, blah is over. She's just in it to win it now. Like, if she's coming in and automatically going for the handshake of respect, especially to Io Shirai.
Colin's peeping in.
You got Colin coming in. All right. Hopefully it'll Yep. I might have to call you back, Colin, if it... Oh, there it goes. Where's my Skype? Yeah, it's hard to see what's going on the screen. I'll call you back, man. Look at all this stuff. Yeah, sorry, folks. Welcome to the computer I never used until I needed to. And now it's got all this shit that I don't know how to get rid of. Let me get Skype on the screen, and we'll get Colin on the horn. Cool. Mr. Cleaver, can I see where the? Can you see it? Am I getting it? I can't see behind the belt. Goddamn belt! Move the belt. Thank you. All right, let's get Colin on the horn. It's live, folks. Anything can happen. What up, Cleaver?
What's up, Colin?
Yo.
You join us for this epic shitty main event?
Yeah.
If you were going to call in with a headache, you should have called in for the mid card or the mid show main event. This is just going to give you more of a headache.
I know.
You're just a glutton for punishment, is what you are.
Jeez.
For those of you new to the show or just chiming in, this is Colin the Cleaver Andrews.
So,
Andrew.
Andrew.
Singular Andrew.
It looks better that way. It's like you're hiding a body or something. It's pretty great.
yeah. I'm on my phone instead of the laptop, so.
It's fine. We're just happy to have you on the screen.
Get that going and turn that off. Hopefully that worked. Unless it's. I hate this thing.
Don't worry about that, man. Let's get on with this main event.
Do you really want to? Yeah, you know.
I want to get rid of this and not talk about it anymore.
Okay. What did you think about the women's championship match main event, Colin? Lay it on us.
Well, if they were going to do it, they should have gave it the 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock break, and Keith Lee and Dominic Dijakovic should have been the main event. First of all, I mean, I'm happy that they got 25 minutes. Good for them. But the fact is that should not have been a main event match. There was no build to it. If they would have done what they did with Keith Lee and Dominic Dijakovic and then had Scarlett Bordeaux come out and then had the encounter with with Karrion Kross and Dominic Dijakovic right after that. Like, so, the lights went out and then it came back on and Daja was gone and it was just basically Lee and Scarlett there. It would have been great right after Scarlett got back to the top of the ramp. We see the altercation backstage with DD and KK.
Yeah.
And that's how it would have ended with the TikTok and him walking away. That's how the show should have ended.
Yeah.
But main event was decent. I mean, it's always good to see Io.
It was a woman's title match.
Yeah, I mean, there was really no, OMG moments, in my opinion. There was a couple cool spots, like when Tegan came with that move off the top right into the pin. I can't remember exactly what happened.
It was a fallaway slam.
It wasn't off the top. Or, it was off the middle rope. Went for a diving cross body, and she grabbed it and threw it into a bridging fallaway slam.
Right. That was cool.
But we've seen that from her before.
But I expected this match to end differently. I actually figured Dakota Kai would get involved in the match itself. So I wasn't really expecting much going into it because I had a big feeling that no matter what, Dakota was going to come in and get involved and cost Tegan the match, basically, Because I know, there's still history there, there's still shit there, but I know they're not really trying to focus on that. But, as we spoke before, who's the next, credible competitor, heel-wise, to face Io Shirai, and that is Dakota Kai. But,
especially with Raquel Gonzalez.
Yeah. Do we think that's going to lead, first off, into a tag match between Io Shirai and Tegan Knox versus Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez?
It's WWE, baby.
Of
Yeah.
course it is.
Well, my initial thought on this 25-minute match was that it was going to go about 10 or 15 minutes, and then either Sasha Banks or Bayley were going to come out. Eventually, both of them would come out, and then the match itself would get turned into a tag match with Sasha and Bayley versus Tegan Nox and Io Shirai.
Which Tegan will probably end up getting pissed about. That would be made for an awesome heel turn for her if that were going to be the case.
Mm-hmm.
Because her championship match that she worked so hard for got turned into a tag match.
Well, it would give her.
That does piss me off too.
It would give her more reason to work harder with Shotzi Blackheart as a tag team and go after those tag team titles.
Yeah.
What do you think about the main event, though?
I didn't like it.
I
turned into the horse from Ren and Stimpy. I didn't like it. It was all
no,
right.
sir, I didn't like it.
It was all right for what it was. It was a women's championship match, but at the same time, I never saw Tegan Nox losing the belt. There was never that moment where I'm like, or Tegan Nox winning the belt. I didn't have that moment where it's like, oh my God, this is actually going to happen. No, you didn't have that at all in this match. You had with Bianca Belair matches. You've got them with pretty much any other match with any other person, but with Tegan Nox, there was no threat there. None. N-U-N, none.
Yeah, I agree with Colin. This match should have never been the main event. It should have been the title in a NXT championship winner take all. I mean, seriously. I disagree with the order, though. I would have opened the show with Keith Lee making the challenge. At the end of the challenge, Scarlett comes out and dumps the remainder of the hourglass.
Yeah.
And then, somewhere in there, they have the interview with Dijakovic, who says, this is a different Keith Lee. He doesn't have to say it like he's been in the ring with him. Just say it like he knows. He can tell. This is a different Keith Lee and blah, blah, blah. And Karrion Kross can't measure up. And that's where Karrion Kross and him altercate. That way he goes into the main event sort of injured after that suplex. Makes sense why he loses. It sucks that he has to lose, because he's got a bad shit going on. But
it also adds that element of drama to it, too.
And because Karrion Kross essentially cost him both championships by attacking him before his match.
Makes the match that much more personal next
week. Yes, that's the way I would have gone. You could have still ended the show with Keith Lee winning, and you could have still ended the show with Karrion Kross coming out. It just would have, again, more drama with both Keith Lee and Dominic Dijakovic now.
Yep.
So,
Nate Spain says he's excited to see Kai challenge for a title. As long as she wears those shorts, dude, I'm game.
Those are a wardrobe malfunction made to happen. Let's see. I've got some notes here. Sharai, my first note is slapping away that handshake of respect. Sharai knows what's up. I feel like this match wasn't even NXT Women's Championship quality.
Mm-mm.
We've been spoiled the last year and a half with Shayna Baszler and then Rhea Ripley and then Charlotte Flair. This was not NXT Women's match quality, and yes, it was Tegan Nox's fault. She does her best. She just doesn't have any in-ring personality. It's just that's
she looks good, but she doesn't look good.
Oh, Jerry thinks she's getting hotter and hotter every week, and I just don't see it.
She is. And then now she's completely unattainable too. So that makes it even better.
My next note is Collins that throw off the diving crossbody into a bridging fall away for a near fall. Let's see. Io hits this handstand into a dropping double knees onto Tegan, where she's laying on her back. So she does this handstand just to the opposite side of her, and then drops her knees into her gut. And I swear to God, she made her squirt. Oh my God, dude. She lost all the air that was inside of her. I would not be surprised if she lost all the liquid that was too. Just saying.
Turn into a Pornhub video real quick.
Just saying. Let's see. Outside, Io throws Tegan into the steps and goes for running Meteora. This is where Tegan dodges out of the way and she goes knees first into the top of the steps, which looked like it really hurt.
Mm-hmm. But you can't really fake that.
This is where Io, has bad knees for the rest of the match, but somehow still wins because of course she does. Back in the ring, Nox rolls up Io, who grabs a handful of Tegan Knox's junk. I guess she's just testing.
She
heard
like
about
a bowling ball.
Still warm.
I almost missed it. I had to back it up so that he didn't miss it. I was like, dude, just watch the pin and zoom in on it. Dude, straight up, it was a small package where she
Hand
grabbed
warmer.
her package. Anyway. Yeah, she was testing to see if she made her squirt. I'm just... out of that, Io hits a bridging German for a near fall. And then Knox gets back on top, hangs Io up in the tree of row. Whoa, hits a running uppercut and a cannonball. Goes for a near fall, but she's right there. Sets her up in the corner, goes for a cannonball, and then a diving crossbody. Only gets a near fall. Picks her up, hits her with a choke slam. Again, only gets a near fall. At none of these moves did I think she was going to get a 3 count.
Remix.
None of these.
The end of the match.
Top that.
Io hits a German suplex into the bottom rope. I think she was going for the bottom turnbuckle, but she ends up putting her head first into the bottom rope.
Yeah.
Which I guess is better than just a regular German suplex. But anyway, out of that, she hits the running meteor into the corner. And then a diving kick, only gets a near fall. Knox goes up top for one last opportunity off of a forward faceplant suplex that she does, where she picks him up for a vertical but then drops him forward. Goes up top and hits a Molly go round but only gets a near fall. Coming off of it, she goes for the Shining Wizard. Io counters this by just sitting up and does this wicked cane uppercut, this palm thrust to the neck. And then hits the worst moonsault I've ever seen her hit. It was more like a moonsault into a diving headbutt to the gut. But either way, she picks up the 1, 2, 3.
It was sloppy joes.
She celebrates on up the ramp, and when she gets to the stage, she shouldn't be looking at the ring because from over there comes Dakota Kai with a kick to the face. And that's how we go off the show. Dakota Kai standing tall on the ramp.
Just that kick just brought back War Games, and it was just beautiful.
And she makes the statement, Tegan Knox couldn't do it, but I can. The better member of former Team Kick. So that brings us to the end of the main event. And here on What's NXT, we like to rate the main event using the General's 5-star rating system. Let's start with the guest, Colin. Just in time.
Oh,
there
God.
it is.
I'm going to rate this main event. I'm going to start it at 2.
Yeah.
But the fact that, A, Dominik Dijakovic is back on NXT. Dominik Dijakovic and Keith Lee got to wrestle again.
Always a plus.
Wasn't a fan that it was for both belts, but it is what it is. It should have just been the North American Championship, in my opinion.
Ooh, I hate that phrase, too.
And,
he does.
what's that?
I hate that phrase. No,
but it is what it is, so.
I will punch you in the face because you're here.
Yeah, don't punch him. That's an expensive face.
But yeah, it should have just been for the North American Championship. So I'm just gonna give this a 3. Just flat out 3.
To go from a 2 to a 3, that's a pretty good leap. So not bad, I'd say. Jerry, anywhere near a 3?
Well, I'm actually gonna give it a 3 for it being a championship match. I like championship matches, main eventing shows, whether it be for the men's title or the women's title. The match itself wasn't anything to call write home about, so it doesn't really get anything else. And granted, the rest of the show was great too, but the main event hampered it, I think. So I'm just gonna keep it at a solid 3.
All right. Let's start this at the idea of just it being a women's championship match. Given the last 1.5 to 2 years of the caliber of women's championship matches that we've had on NXT, if you use the average as the median, the 2.5 stars,
he went to college for math,
is below average. I'm going to start this at 2.25.
Yeah,
because I don't believe it's even close to average. I should start it at a 2, but I'll give it the benefit of the doubt because I'm going down from here. I do like the fact that it was a championship match main eventing the show. However, there was another championship match on this show, and that one was for 2 titles. that one should have been the main event. The fact that this was the main event instead of that one, that brings it down a quarter star. The show would have been great except for a lot of reasons. That being the main one. Another one is people winning matches that just don't make sense. Some of these matches that just don't make sense in the first place. And just not a very good overall narrative for the show. There's another quarter gone. There's no story going into this match at all. It was just Tegan Nox winning the championship contender opportunity and then going into this match. What was that, a fatal four-way?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Candice, Mia, and
Tegan.
They have had these build-up promos for it, but there has been absolutely no clash between these two.
No emotional investment whatsoever.
Nothing.
None.
I am going to call this 1 3/4 stars.
Wow.
I think this is the lowest I've ever gone. If they'd have just switched these two matches, this show not only would have been great, but the main event would have been superb, and this would have been a ridiculous score from me, probably.
Mm-hmm.
But not in this order.
It's still a ridiculous score, but not a good way.
They could have left that. They could have left the women's match at 25 minutes and still been in the middle of the show and been just fine for the 10-minute North American and NXT Championship match that ended the way.
Nate and John both give it a 3, and Nate Spain said, "Wow."
Do you think though that they put the Keith Lee Dominic Dijakovic match in the middle because of what Chris Jericho's been doing on Twitter about the 18 to blah 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 demographic, like how he's winning?
It's highly possible.
I understand putting a good match during that hour. That's why you start the show with the women's title match, and during that 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Yes, thank you. And you have Cameron Grimes fucking win it. But anyway, off that roll up, that would have been perfect. That would have been the perfect, and he was so close off of it anyway. Those are the best.
I was about to say have Damian Priest lose that match fairly. And because then, Cameron Grimes wouldn't shut about it even further, and it actually gave Damian Priest either sympathy or at least something else to work up towards. Now it's just Damian Priest being Damian Priest, and who really wants that? He's like mini Roman Reigns.
And now, where does Cameron Grimes go now that his momentum has been halted?
Yeah.
So anyway,
way to go.
So that's So 1 3/4. Wow.
Boo.
Boo. I love NXT, but this
2 3/4.
Terrible decision. Terrible decision. I'm sure they had reasons, but fuck.
Butt fuck, yes. He said butt fuck.
So, I think that brings us to the end of the show. Thank you for joining us. Please join us this Friday evening. After SmackDown, we will be doing predictions for WWE The Horror Show at Extreme Rules.
.AOL. Whatever.
Okay. We're done stealing from Wrestle Talk. Now they
Wrestle
steal from
Talk
us.
is done stealing from us.
We had that homage for the first year or so of our shows with the support no DQ, but now that we've gone live, I really haven't ever used it since. And now they use our phrases. It's crazy. I don't know if that's a coincidence or if they actually were like, that's a good...
All right, before we go, though, John actually just asked, guys, what do you see Keith Lee losing first and to whom?
Of course he's going to lose the North American Championship first, but I don't know if it's going to be to whom. He might just end up relinquishing it.
I could see that actually occurring. William Regal just not giving him a choice in the matter, saying, like, look, I appreciate what you're doing and everything, but we need to give these other guys an opportunity, and we need that North American title back.
And then you have a tournament. 16-man. You've got enough guys. Do it.
Mm-hmm.
What about you? Do you think somebody takes the title off of him, and which one?
See, I do, but all right. So obviously, this Killer Cross and Keith Lee thing is going to happen.
Yeah.
Like this is a clash that is the train has left the fucking station. So, would it be more probable for Killer Cross to kill Karrion Kross, whatever the fuck you want to call him?
Killer Karrion Kross.
Killer Karrion Kross.
Not racist at all.
I'm starting to get used to, side note, I'm starting to really get used to the name Karrion. I dig it. I think it's better than Killer Cross. Killer Cross sounds like a kitsch name. Karrion Cross sounds like an actual person's name.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm cool with it.
But it would be more probable, in my opinion, to book him as the North American champion first.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest with you, like, I know he's a big name, but don't rush the shit. Mid-card titles need built up. I like what they do with the North American Championship in NXT as of late. They're not just hot potatoing it around. And, you know, if they're not going to do anything with Keith Lee, like, main roster, quote-unquote, wise, they should leave the title on him for a while. So, in my opinion, Keith Lee should drop the North American Championship to Cross.
Jerry?
It makes the most sense, really. If he's not going to relinquish it, one of the titles needs to be on the line. I liked your idea. I know they're not going to fucking do it, but like having him either win one of the belts either which way would be a really cool idea. And that's something they also do with any challenge that comes his way. Anybody that wants to try to make him submit, or anybody that wants to try to pin him. If they pin him, they get the belt. If they submit, they get the U.S. The other way, submit for the North American title.
No. If they pin him, they can get the North American. But if they can make him submit, because that's essentially him saying he quits.
Yeah.
They can make him quit and tap out, then
or just pass out.
NXT championship.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Because a pinfall victory can happen off of a fucking fruit roll-up. We've seen it happen. Should have happened with Cameron Grimes. Fuck this show. Okay. All right. I don't think we have any questions.
That's it.
That's the end of the show.
Plug time.
Plug time. Join us again for the prediction show for Extreme Rules. We'll be doing that Friday night.
10:30 Eastern.
Around 10:15, 10:30 after SmackDown. Maybe 10:30. Maybe we'll get Aaron some time before we steal all. No, I'm just kidding.
We won't steal anything from anyone.
We might have Big G on the panel. He was on the No DQ panel with me. If you haven't seen that, check out Aaron's channel at No DQ or Aaron Riff /No DQ, something like that.
Just go to nodq.com. It's there.
Yeah, it's there. It might be in the link down below. I'm not positive. Anyway, we'll be doing that Friday. We probably won't be doing any others. So join us next week again for this show. I don't know who'll be on the big screen. We're trying to get Virtue. So he has promised to do a show with us in the future. So
he hasn't done one with us since Toronto.
If not, join, or you can be on the big screen. Hit us up. Leave something down in the comments, email address or something. We'll get a hold of you. Or find us on social media. You can find this gentleman on social media. He'll hook you up. He runs two of our social medias. Find us on Twitter and Instagram, and he'll hook you up, get you on the show. Otherwise, where else can they find you, Colin?
Find me on my Twitter. Just go to nodq.com/Colin, and then my YouTube page, the Cleaver Colin Andrew. I just passed 300 subscribers this past week, so thanks for all the fine help and stuff from people out there. So I haven't really been active on there because wrestling's just been kind of blah lately.
All of our progeny channels are way outgrown.
They're so much better than us. They're our children.
Well, I've been trying to think of like other content to put on there and stuff. So I go on vacation next week, so I won't really be around. But
just start drumming, dude.
Yeah, I need to get the cables to hook my electronic kit into the computer.
Yeah. And
then I can make like the actual sound and stuff, like you can actually hear it, because I don't want to buy a speaker.
You just go live. You just go live and just have people requesting like either wrestling themes or whatever. Just like
my advice is make a separate channel for your drumming. Your wrestling fans want to see wrestling content.
Yep. So, but yeah, you can follow me there. I'm not plugging my Instagram anymore. So, yeah. Aftermatch Wrestling on Instagram, aftermatch_wrestling, and then on Twitter it's aftermatchrest. You take the ling out of wrestling.
Whatever the fuck that means.
So yeah, and also check out the Greg Cherry brand on Teespring. He makes this fine shirt that is Jerry's over here.
Yep.
The armbar shirt, and then I have one up there too that you can purchase for $19.99. plus shipping and handling. So, yeah, check it out. And fuck migraines.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, even if it was for the main event, and thanks for withstanding the fucking main event with your migraine, man. Appreciate it. Thank you all for joining us. You can find us on Twitter. Find me on Twitter. Go to nodq.com/Stefan, Stefan, or just at Stefan R. Osborne, Osborne. As always, the R stands for restricted and rubber bands. I don't know why. Fuckbomb. You can also find the General Cuntbomb on Twitter.
At Gerald_JSJ, my Facebook group Armbar, all capital ARMBAR.
Exclamation point!
Also, the Aftermatch Wrestling group on Facebook, and on Instagram, you can find him.
Oh, at Osborne.Stefan.
And me at the_gentleman_slaughter.
It's a good way to start doing that. If I get into the groove, that'll be a good way to finish. If you want to help the channel, we are on Patreon at Stefan R. Osborne. But if you just have some time, the best way to help is a few clicks here and there. Click the like button over here. If you like this show, that just makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Helps us out. Helps you out. Recommends more of our shows for
You're still here, so you...
And dumbasses like our show. Or
dumbass
dumbass shows like our show. Not dumbasses that like our... Anyway.
Dumbasses like our show.
If you like all of our dumbass shows, click the subscribe button over there underneath Jerry.
Mm-hmm.
That'll help you get all of our shows. And if you click the bell icon, it'll let you know when we go live. So if you want to join us live, you can. We still got some people in the chat room. Holy shit. So other than that, if you want to help our channel grow, the best thing you can do for us is click the share button. Share us on Facebook and
Sharing
Twitter.
is caring.
And Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. And your YouTube channel if you have one. I believe you can
seriously,
share it on
just
there too.
talk about us on there. Good or bad.
Just direct message
Publicity
the link
is good.
to all of your friends. And if any of them like to watch NXT, they might like to watch us bullshit about the show.
You can send the link to all your Snapchat friends. You can put it on your Reddit.
Yep.
Your Tumblr, is that still around? I don't know.
I think so.
LinkedIn, MySpace. Yes, MySpace.
You know.
That's mostly for music now, but we can do that.
I wonder if my page is still active.
Mine isn't.
It was awesome.
I miss my MySpace page. It was the shit.
I relearned how to do HTML just for MySpace.
I remember loving it because the blogs I got to do on there and the music playlists.
The illegal as fuck music playlists.
Yes, they were great.
They were awesome. I wonder why those disappeared. Back in the fucking Wild West days of the internet. As the meme says, back when you'd use LimeWire to give your computer AIDS.
The Frostwire was like the herpes.
Oh my god, I remember back Kazaa, yes, Kazaa and Morpheus. Those came after Napster. Napster used to be just music audio files, and then Morpheus and Kazaa were like, why can't we just share everything? I got movies, I got fucking video games, and software.
Are we done now?
We're probably done now. Everybody's gone.
Yeah, we're done.
For the Cleaver, Colin Andrew. For the General, Jerry Slaughter. I'm the Wizard of No DQ, Stefan Osborne. Thank you for joining us. We will see you NXT time.
Or tomorrow night.